morning. Our speaker today is Joe Uhas. Joe is a partner at Reister, an advertising, public relations, and public affairs firm with offices in Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake City, and Joe oversees their public affairs division. Prior to joining Reister, Joe served as deputy director of the Arizona Department of Commerce. He formerly served as president and CEO of the Arizona Restaurant and Hospitality Association, as a member of the Governor's Tourism Council, and as director of the National Restaurant Association. He was also a founding board member of the Arizona Tourism Alliance. Joe is a graduate of Rider University and has served as their director of alumni and public affairs. Prior to relocating to Arizona, Joe held elected public office in New Jersey and served as member of the Trenton City Council, the Mercer County Board of Supervisors, and the New Jersey State Assembly. For his work in Arizona, Joe has been honored by the Arizona Society of Association Executives, the Fiesta Bowl, Arizona Tourism Alliance, the Greater Flagstaff Economic Council, and the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. And he is an inductee of the Arizona Tourism Hall of Fame. Joe will come today to talk to us about the Coalition for Solutions Through Higher Education. This is a presentation that I first heard at the Arizona State University Faculty Senate meeting in the fall, and I thought this is a message that we need to hear. And so I'd like to please welcome Mr. Joe Uhas.
Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing my associate Pamela Singh and I to be a part of your program today. This is the high honor for me, the opportunity to speak before this club for a third time. I previously had the opportunity to address you when I was at the Department of Commerce to talk about our economic development challenges. Several years ago, when I was involved in a ballot measure involving Indian tribal government gaming, I again had the opportunity to address you, and I know how influential this club is, the largest Kiwanis club in Arizona. We've done 150 of these presentations around the state, and frankly our efforts wouldn't be complete unless we had the opportunity to address your club. I also want to thank you for both the students that were here earlier on this side of the room that I'm going to actually allude to later, and the entertainment on this side of the room. And, you know, when you sit at the head table and they serve you spaghetti, you know, you're really under a lot of pressure. So when the attention was drawn away from us, I pulled that spaghetti, and it seems like I've gotten by unscathed. You know, I'm going to share with you a short video, and at the very beginning you'll see one of America's great achievements, the moon launch and the landing of man on the moon. And, you know, a lot of people are very familiar with, of course, the first words that Neil Armstrong mentioned on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But what a lot of folks have forgotten are his last words. The last words he said on the moon before he climbed up the lunar module ladder and back into the LEM as they would head off back to a rendezvous in lunar orbit and come back home. And his last words were, "Good luck, Mr. Gorski." Do you all remember that? Yeah. "Good luck, Mr. Gorski." They were actually his last words, and it was confusing to Mission Control because they didn't know what he was talking about. In fact, it wasn't even clear. Maybe there something was lost in transmission. What did he say? He said, "Good luck, Mr. Gorski." Well, who's Gorski? Well, maybe he's a Russian cosmonaut. Maybe he's wishing a colleague of his in the space program, even though the Cold War was at one of its high points at that point. He was wishing him luck in his next space mission. But there was no Gorski in the entire Russian cosmonaut program. Then they looked into the records to see if there was perhaps a Gorski in the manned space program at NASA. And they looked through all the records, and there wasn't a single employee at NASA named Gorski, nor was there an employee of any of the contractors that worked to put man on the moon. When he came back, the press would ask him, "Colonel Armstrong, what did you mean when you said, 'Good luck, Mr. Gorski'?" And he said, "Well, it was just a private message to an old friend, and I want to respect his privacy, so I'm just not going to reveal that." And for years, he was before Kiwanis clubs and other lesser service clubs, and people would ask him the question, "What did you mean by saying, 'Good luck, Mr. Gorski'?" And he would always respond by saying, "It was a private message to an old friend." Well, about 20 years after he landed on the moon, someone again asked him that question. And in a rare moment, he said, "You know, I've been asked that question for 20 years, and only recently that I find myself in a position where I can share that with you, because my old friend who I sent the message to, Mr. Gorski, has apparently passed away. And now I can tell you the story." And the story is that when I was a youngster back in Ohio and I was playing catch with my brother in front of our home, the ball sailed over my head. And when I went to retrieve it in the neighbor's lawn next door, the Gorskys, Mr. and Mrs. Gorski were having a terrible fight. And they were up on the second floor and the window was open, and all I can remember hearing was Mrs. Gorski saying to Mr. Gorski, "Sex? You want sex? You'll get sex when that kid next door walks on the moon." You know, every speaker's obligated to share something, and it's difficult for me to do that, though, because this is such a serious topic. And I'm going to shock you, and it's something we should all be concerned about. And again, I'm going to start with a short video, and then Pamela and I are going to step you through a brief PowerPoint presentation, and of course, we'll welcome your questions.